Okay, so now after this we can learn about borders. So you can see right now I've used an image, so I'll just remove this. You can see I have this. Okay, I'll just remove everything from here. We don't need this now. Okay, now what I'm gonna say is, again I'm gonna have some I'll just say, suppose we have some margin, and I'll just say it has 30 pixel margin from each side. Okay, so that's how we will have some space. So I'm just gonna say we can also give some background properties. Okay, so backgrounds are actually of a lot styles, but you can actually say that I will just write a shorthand for border. So you can simply say, so I'm talking about the border property, I'm sorry. So border, and I would just say what's the width of the border which I want. So I just want the border to be 5 pixel thick. Okay, that means I want the thickness. Then I want the border type to be solid. Okay, solid means the solid. Okay, then we'll understand more about the properties. You can see by default we have black border. Instead of this, if I choose some other color, you can see I can get the other color. Okay, it's exactly the color is like color properties. Now you can see I have this border. Okay, so instead of this, I can actually use a lot of properties, like we have dotted, dotted. So you can see we have the dotted border. Now similarly we have the dashed border. Okay, so we have the dashed border. Similarly we have the double border, we have the groove border. So you can actually learn more about the border properties by searching about them. So you can see these are some basic border properties which you must at least know. Okay, now guys, one more thing, that right now you can see that the border is not having any curves in the sides. Okay, so what you can do is border radius, and you can say that suppose I want the border radius to be 30 pixels. So you can see it's that much rounded. Okay, so according to the requirement you can round it that much, and you can actually add it more properties, like for example you have border top right radius, bottom left radius. For example, if I write top right radius and if I say it's 30 pixels, so you can see only top right would be having 30 pixels. Okay, so that's how you can actually give some border, right? So guys, after this I told you what is margin and padding. Then we are also going to learn about heights. Okay, so you can actually give different kind of properties. For example, right now you can see I have given this some, I haven't given this actually some width or height. You can see automatically whatever is the required height would be taken. Okay, so right now you can see that, okay, I'll just do one thing. I'll just give it a background color now. So background color is red. Okay, so I've given this a background color. Now for example, if I just say that the width is, you can say that 30 pixel. Okay, so 30 pixel is the width. So you can see it would be taking only 30 pixel. Whatever is the page size, I'm only going to take 30 pixel. Okay, suppose instead of this if I make 30%, okay, so 30%, so you can see I'm only taking 30% out of the 100% of the space available. For example, this division was inside something else. For example, if I just say that this division was actually inside some other division, and I'll just name it as, suppose for example, let's name it as my div 2. Okay, so actually I'll just make it as my div 1 and this is my div 2, so this looks better. Okay, so I would say that for example my div 1 is just having this property. I would just say my div 1 is actually having 70%. That means for example the whole body is taking 100%, right? I'm just saying my div would take 70% width of the 100%, whatever is the size. If I just increase this, you can see it's still taking 70%, and the text is now separated. Okay, so you can see that's how you can actually give these properties. Now guys, I would say that my div 2 would be first of all having some style. So I would just say my div 2 is suppose having some style, and if I say that the background color is this time red. Okay, so you can see this time red, and I would just say that the background color for this is actually blue. So you can see first of all whole space is taken by my div 2, but I would say that my div 2 would be taking 50%. So now guess what would actually happen. So if I write width as 50%, so it would take 50% of this 70%. That means what? 35% of the whole page. Okay, that's how it actually is calculated, 35% of the body. Okay, so you can see now it's only taking 50% of the whole 70% taken by my div 1. Okay, so you can see that's how actually it works. Now similar to this, height is also working. So if I say suppose the height is actually, like, you can't really give height in percentage here. So if I say, suppose for example, if I say height is 80%, so you can see that giving height in percentage is actually not easy here. You can't give it in all conditions. But suppose I would say that I'm gonna say, like, you can give height in pixels, so I would just say 800 pixels. Okay, I'm saying that the height of this is 800 pixels, so you can see 800, or it's really more, so I would just say that the height is actually 400 pixels. So you can see that the height is that much, and here itself I can say I want to only take the height of 50%. Will it work or not? So you can see if I gave it height of 50%, you can see that it actually worked, but the content has actually overflowed. So guys, for these cases also, let me just explain you what you can do is, you can first of all say overflow is hidden. So you can see overflow is gone, and actually instead of this, what you can do is you can add a property. Right now you can see I can't really see the content, so for that you can actually add a property overflow as scroll. So you can see now I'm able to scroll. So even if you have some confusions about overflow, now I hope it's cleared. Okay, so overflow is a very great property. When content goes outside, just make it a scroll. Okay, so this is really helpful and you would be using this property a lot. Okay guys, so I hope you understood the very basic logic of width and height. That's how actually width and height works, and you would be using this a lot in styling. So especially when you are getting confused, please try to refer this, your problems would be solved. Okay, so now guys, similar to this, we have a topic named as box model. Okay, so box model is nothing, just margin, border and padding. For example, I'm gonna come again here, and for example, I'll just say that again, I'll just uh, create a new div. Okay, I'll just create a new div, so I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll just copy this, and I'll just create a new div, and I'll just name it as my div 3. Okay, and I'll just comment this out. Okay, so now I'm talking about my div 3. So we actually have a box model property, like it's a combination of margin, padding and border. Okay, so first of all, I would just say that suppose this is actually having some background color of this red. Okay, first of all, I've given this background color. So right now you can see that it's taking the width of whole space, but right now I'll just say that let me just define the width as 100 pixel. Okay, so you can see I've defined the width as 100 pixel. Now you can see that the width of this division is 100 pixel, but what if I give it a border? Okay, what if I give it a border? So I would just say that the border is actually 2 pixel solid black, or instead of this I would just increase it to 5 pixel, and let me just say that the color here is actually blue color. Okay, so you can see that this division is now having number of width is actually what, 100 plus 5 on left side, 5 on right side. Okay, so that's the width. Okay, 110. Now also if I say that the padding is also given as 20 pixels from each side, for example, or I'll say that 20 pixel from top and bottom and 30 pixel from left and right. Okay, so now what would be the width? So you can see this is 100, this is 100, and this is 5 plus 5 10. Okay, I'm just talking about left and right sides, not the top and bottom. So width is 100 plus 5 plus 5. Okay, so you can see that's how 110 would become. Then after this you can see that we have also given 30 on left side, 30 on right side. So 110 plus 60, that is 170. Now the total width is 170. Now what happens if you give it a margin? So margin is also counted here. So if I say that the margin I want to give here is again 10 pixel from each sides, so you can see I also have the margin. Okay, so now I want to explain something which is very helpful to you. So just come into this page and now just right click, and you would be using this a lot, so just go to the inspect part. So this is a very useful feature, is provided by every browser. And now guys, here you can simply see, if I just say, if I just scroll a bit, you can see, you would see a page something like this. Okay, so if I go to the body, and you can see we had some content here, I'm simply clicking on this. This is my div 3. So you can see I have these all the properties which I have here. I can actually remove this and see what are the changes, or I can manipulate it from here. It won't make any changes on your code, but these are temporary. Okay, so these are temporary just for viewing how it would look if the color was this, or if the width was a little bit lesser. So you can actually perform this this on your own, but as soon as you refresh the page, there is no change in the code. These things are temporary. If you refresh the page, you can see, you will still see the thing which was original in your code. Okay, so but for testing purpose, you can actually make some changes in your CSS here. You can actually write some more CSS here, whatever you want, you can do that also. Okay guys, so one more thing, now I wanted to show you about computed. So here you can see it has already computed. So you can see that the margin is 10 plus 5 for border, that is 15, plus 20, so this is what, this is 35 on I'm sorry, it's actually 10 on left side, 5, then 30. How much is this? 45 on left side, similarly 45 on right side. Okay, that is 90, and the inner width was 100. So 90 plus 100, that is 190. Okay, so you can see that the total width of this is actually 190. Okay, so this is actually the total width. If I just inspect, so you can see that's how it actually like I can actually just click on this hole, and you can see that if I scroll on this, you can see that the total width is actually 170. Okay guys, so here you can see, if I click on this, you can see, I can see that the total width is 170 and the height is 430. So how is the width 170? You can just go to the computed section, and here itself you can see that margin is actually not counted as a width. Okay, so don't get confused, only margin is not counted as the width. But if I talk about border, yes, it's counted. So border is 10. Okay, 5 on left, 5 on right, and then you are talking about this 30 and this 30, that is 60, so 70, and then inside this we have 100. So you can see total width is 170 and margin is actually not counted as the width. Okay, so now what I'm saying is, you can see that everything is fine here. So you need to understand, this is the box model. Okay, this is the box model. So guys, right now you can see that the width was 170. If I say box sizing as border box, so this is a property which we usually give. So right now you can see that now if I click on this, how much is the width? Okay, so you can see how much is the width. So you can actually see, okay, I have to actually, I think I have to a little bit zoom out. Okay, so I'll just say that okay, I'll just make it 50%, and you can see right now the content is not visible, but I wanted to show you something. So if I click on this, so you can see now the width is 100. Why is it 100? So width would be 100 and everything would be inside this. Okay, so you can see including the border, padding, and the original width. So the total of this width is actually 100. So you can see 5 for border, that is 10 for border, then 60 for padding, so this is what, 70, then the remaining would be 30. Okay, so if you have given original width as 100, so padding would also be now counted inside and border would also be now counted inside. Margin would always be counted outside. When you give this property, you are doing that. Okay, so it's always useful when you don't want any kind of overflow and you want some kind of symmetry, so you can use this box sizing property. Okay, so box sizing property. So now I will just comment this out. Now guys, this was box model. You would be using this a lot.